Revelation chapter 21, in this case, why don't you turn there? Revelation 21, but I am going to focus on these first 3 verses. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. That is, the new Jerusalem had already existed in what we now call the present heaven. Heaven as it now is. And then he brings it down out of heaven onto the new earth, into the holy city, the new Jerusalem. And it's prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. It's not just a city with physical attributes. It's a city consisting of the population of that city, the people of God. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Now the dwelling of God is with men, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God." And I can't help but go on to read verse 4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, no more mourning, no more crying, no more pain, for the old order of things has passed away. And he who was seated on the throne said, "I am making everything new." And then he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." You can take them to the bank. You can absolutely count on what I've said. I'm the Alpha and the Omega, he goes on to say, the beginning and the end. To him who is thirsty, I will give to drink without cost from the spring of the water of life. But let's focus on verse 3. So the last of what you see up before you. Now the dwelling of God is with men. Okay, so he's taken the New Jerusalem out of heaven and brought it down to earth. But now what he says is, now the dwelling of God is with men, and he will live with them, and they'll be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. Do you get the impression that something is being emphasized on the with end of things? With men. God shall live with men. Does it remind you of one of the names of Jesus? Emmanuel. What does it mean? God with us. God among us. God in our presence. God who took on human flesh and did not discard it when he rose and ascended, who will be the God-man for all eternity. That's the nature of incarnation. It is permanent in him. He did not shed his humanity when he ascended. He is the God-man, and he will come down to earth, the new earth, to live with his people. And then in Revelation 22, you see the throne of God that is brought down to the New Jerusalem. So the people of God come down to the new earth. God himself comes down to live with his people on the new earth. And the throne of God is in the city there on the new earth. Are you catching just a bit of the difference between the heaven we go to when we die into the presence of God, and later when Christ returns and then ultimately sets up his eternal kingdom? Now, I'm not talking about the millennium now. And in this room, there are going to be some people who are amillennial, who don't believe that there is a literal 1,000-year reign, or who believe that that is going on right now. There's a certain argumentation that goes with that. There are postmillennial people who believe that the millennium will be established on the earth and then Christ will return at the end of that. And then a number of people are premillennial. They believe that Christ will come, then set up a 1,000-year kingdom. Okay, but no matter what view you take related to the millennium, and we will talk about it very briefly later on, this is not what we're dealing with here. We're talking about something that everybody, regardless of what they believe in related to the millennium, everyone should believe in exactly what this says. This is, if there is a 1,000-year reign of Christ on the earth, I think there will be, but I'm open on that, and I've had long discussions with people who believe otherwise. But no matter what you believe about the millennium, this is the new earth. This is where God comes down to dwell with his people. Not only will we be resurrected, but the earth itself shall be resurrected.